You ever hear a coin tell you where to run? You ever feel it in your teeth when it hits the rock and the sound travels like a line back to a hand you can't see? I did. I still heard that clink when I tried to sleep after. Ray kept glancing back at the ridge and the moon over it, big and full and clean. I slapped his shoulder and tried to grin. It's just a cave, man. We go in. We come out. We say we did cardio. Everyone's happy. You don't look happy, he said. I don't look happy unless I'm eating, I said. Duck your head. We slid under the lip of the main opening and the cold hit us. The air smelled like wet stone and old dirt. Our lights picked up the shine of minerals, pale in the beam. I made a joke about nature charging admission. Ray did not laugh. Water dripped somewhere deep. Each drop rang for too long. My shoulder already ached. Not from the run, from the pull. I didn't say it. I kept talking. Cops won't come in here. Dogs won't either. We get some distance. Sit it out. Walk out at dawn. He nodded like he agreed. He kept close. Our footfalls echoed. I could count them twice. We found the first sign by accident. A slice on a rock that caught our lights and threw back a cold gleam. It wasn't pretty. It was a scraped line with metal rubbed into it. I put my thumb near it. It felt cold before I even touched it. I didn't lay skin on it. I knew enough. Silver left that kind of shine. See, I said, trying to keep the voice easy. Camp kids with pocket knives. We'll send them a bill. Ray pointed at the floor. Wire ran across low, ankle high, tied to some kind of pin stuck into a crack. He lifted it with 2 fingers. The wire bit into the glove and stayed there, tight. Not kid stuff. A snare. He let it go. It sat and waited. I kept moving. Some guy plays army down here, I said. Good for him. We'll stay out of his arts and crafts. We took a left where the ceiling dipped. That's where I heard it the first time. A coin tapped stone, a bright, high clink that jumped and bounced down the tunnel and came back thinner. It sounded clean. Too clean. I stopped without meaning to. Ray looked at me. Relax, I said, because that was all I had. He wants a soda. The second time it came from right behind us. Before I could turn, a sting across my forearm made me flinch. It felt like a bee with a nail for a stinger. I pulled my arm in and there was a cut and a smear that looked black in the light. It wasn't the blood that made me swear. It was the burn. It came cold at first, then hot, like someone laid a wire on the wound and kept turning up the power. I sucked air and tasted metal. Ray grabbed my wrist. You good? Yeah, I lied. The skin around the cut already rose red. I smelled something under the wet rock and mud. Gun oil. That sweet, sharp smell from a rag on a workbench. It didn't belong here. We both heard the radio at the same time. The static crackled near the walls, then a voice slid out of it like it had been there all along. Calm. Tired. Nicholas, it said. My name. Full, like a teacher. Keep going. Don't stop in the narrow. Ray's eyes hit mine. I licked my lips. The radio crackled again, then went quiet. The coin clinked once more. Ahead now, like a breadcrumb that made a noise. We don't listen to strangers, I said. My mouth went dry. I took a breath. Come on. We kept to the wider tunnel for a while, but the wider turned narrow no matter where we went. Scratches showed up on the walls every 20 feet or so, sets of 5 marks crossed by 1, like someone had counted days and run out of space. I brushed my glove over one group. Dust came away. It wasn't new. It wasn't that old either. The feeling in my shoulder pushed under the skin, like a slow hand from inside tapping to get out. My mouth tasted old pennies. The moon tugged even underground. I felt stupid thinking that, so I said nothing. We got to a fork with 3 mouths. It smelled worse to the left, like mud that never saw sun. I shone my light down each one. The right drop-off showed little flashes on the floor. Shavings. They gleamed the way that scrape had. I waved Ray away and tested a few with the tip of my boot. The rubber sizzled a little and made a tiny smoke that smelled wrong. I didn't step there. We took the middle and hit the first dead drop. It wasn't a little thing you could step over. Ray's rock went out and never came back. The sound dropped and dropped until it turned hollow and swallowed itself. The echo hit us in the chest. "Nope," Ray said, stupid soft like the hole could hear. "Who builds this crap?" I said. I laughed so my hands wouldn't shake. "You win. Let's go say sorry to the coin man." We backed up slow. I kept my light on the floor. The coin clinked again, behind us, then to the side. I didn't see it. I could see the line of sound it made, like chalk on the wall. It pointed us where he wanted. I tried to move in the other direction on purpose. The radio crackled and the voice slid in, still calm. "Nicholas, don't make me push." "Eat me," I said, before I thought. My arm throbbed with the burn. My head buzzed. The next chamber opened out a bit, low but wide, with a pile of old junk to one side. I picked through it. Rusted can. A length of stiff net rolled tight. Little pieces snapped off. It looked like chain, fine as hair, but heavier. I didn't touch it. There were flares too in a cracked plastic box. I cracked one, and it spat light and hissed like a snake. The smoke crawled along the ceiling. My eyes watered. The red made everything look like blood. Ray found paper under a rock. It came up in pieces. A map, or it wanted to be. The top half of a grid, drawn by hand, with a couple circles and an X. Wet edges tore when he tried to open it. He held one half and I held the other, and we could not get them to line up. "Keep both," I said. "We'll call it art." "You're still joking?" He shook his head. "Man, you're still joking." "It's either that or scream," I said. I stuffed my half into my pocket. The radio popped. No voice. Just that itch of static. The coin clinked and clinked. 2 taps this time, a beat apart. We took the tunnel with the old carved arrow by the floor. I counted footfalls under my breath. The roof came down low and made me duck. My shoulders scraped rock. The burn on my arm flared and sent lines up to my neck. Ray breathed loud. Every few feet, the wall had those tally marks. 5 lines and a cut across. Some sets had a little smudge, like a finger had dragged dark over them. A breeze touched my face and it felt good, even if it smelled like an old fridge. We rushed it and hit a rock fall. The exit was there once. It wasn't now. Big boulders jammed into each other, mud mortared around them. We put our hands on them and pushed stupidly. They did not move. Dust fell down and made us cough. I pushed again anyway, like effort would fix time. The radio clicked. "Don't do that," the man said. "You'll choke." I swore at the rocks and at him. It echoed back at me and sounded smaller. The flare hissed and spit. Ray took his hat off and wiped his face. "We're going to die here," he said. "A flat thing, not loud." "We're not," I said. I wasn't sure. My tongue rubbed my teeth. They felt loose. That was new. I took another flare and cracked it and held both, one in each hand. The heat felt good on my palms and bad on the cut. Smoke made a ceiling over us and drifted. We went back, kept low, took a side slit we had not wanted, and slid on our asses when it tilted down. My pants filled with grit. The floor took on water. It came up slow and didn't stop. It got to my knees. Cold bit through. The hiss of the flares got loud against it. Then one hiss cut off, and the light went black on my left. I held the other flare high and kept it dry. The roof dropped. We had to crawl. The water lapped my chin. The last flare spit and flickered and went out with a sad little steam sound. We were in the kind of dark that made your eyes feel like closed doors. "Nick," Ray said. It was just a breath. "I know," I said. I did not know. I put my hand on the wall and felt for lines. The rock under my palm had little cuts. Not natural. Scored. I moved my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a slash. The same marks. They were everywhere. My skin crawled. The radio crackled, and the voice said, "Straight." I could not tell where it came from. It sounded like it came from the rock. I wanted to argue. Instead, I went straight. My knees hit something, then space, then a lip. The floor climbed, and the water went away, and my lungs stopped squeezing. I heard Ray grunt and slap his palm on rock. We pulled forward like seals, soaked, shivering. Behind us, the water made little sounds like it was talking. We got up where we could stand again. I lit another flare. My hands shook, and I almost dropped it. It came alive and hissed and spit smoke, and I loved it. The light found silver dust around the next bend, sprinkled like salt. My skin prickled. "Don't touch," I said, as if I needed to say it. The coins clinked again. 3 this time. Quick, like a laugh. We tried bargaining there because I got tired of being moved like a piece. I put the flare down and pulled the radio we had out of my bag. We had grabbed one at the truck because I thought it would be funny to say "copy" at each other. I clicked it on. It hissed and spat. "You win," I said into it. "Come get your prize. I'm tired of your coin tricks, man." Silence. Then that voice again, dry, not excited. "Nicholas, you keep moving. I'm not here for jokes." "What for?" I said. I felt stupid asking. I knew. My bones knew. The moon kept pulling like a hand on my spine. "Say it." He did not say it. He said, "2 with you. I need the 1. The other walks if he listens." Ray squeezed the back of my shirt. It was a kid move. It helped. "How about we trade?" I said. "How about I bring you a nice deer instead?" It came out weak. I hated that. My mouth tasted ugly. The radio clicked off. The coin tapped once, very gentle. It still made my molars hurt. We set the ambush right after, because I said I had an idea and I wanted to be the guy with ideas. There was a tight bend where a side passage met the main. The floor showed scuffs. He had been coming close there. I put a flare on a rock in the main, bright and just around the bend, so it looked like we stood there. We killed our lights and crouched in the side with rocks between us and the light, and we waited. I heard footfalls, soft. Not his boots. My heart. Ray's breath ticked the back of my neck. The radio crackled, then went dead again. Then a flash hit my eyes, bright white, fast, from where the flare couldn't be. It was a mirror bounce, quick. It made me blink. The net hit me in that blink. Fine links, heavier than they looked, cold like the scrape on the rock. It wrapped my shoulders and face and bare wrist and bit. The bite wasn't like wire. It was a cold that went through and came back as heat that made my muscles grab. I screamed and pulled. It took skin off my forearm when it went. I didn't see his hand. He never had to step into the light. He pulled the net back silent. The coin clinked again, behind us now. Our trick was sad, and he had seen it before. Stupid, I said to myself out loud. I hated that I sounded scared. My skin where the net had touched went red and swollen. Little bubbles rose on it. Not blood. Something under the skin. I swallowed it down. Ray brushed at my arm with shaking fingers. He hissed and pulled back when the silver burn came near his palm. "Sorry," he said. "It's fine," I lied again. It didn't feel like lies anymore. Lies felt softer. We moved again because moving felt better than sitting. The tally marks showed up thick on a long wall. Hundreds. Some crossed out by others. Little dashes beside some. I did not want to think what that meant. Someone had scratched a circle with a line through it over a set. I touched it and got dust on my finger. I wiped it on my pants. We found another map fragment dropped near an old boot with no foot in it. The corner read S4 and had arrows that pointed nowhere. The paper made a wet squeak when I unfolded it. Ray held his lighter under it to see. I slapped his hand. "Not with this," I said, holding up the flare. He pocketed the lighter, embarrassed. The map did not help. It led us to a low crawl where the air felt thin. We backed out coughing. The smell of gun oil swelled around a turn like we had walked into a closet where someone oiled a rifle an hour ago. I could almost see the rag, dark and slick. "Close," I whispered. I didn't know why I whispered. The man had a radio. He knew exactly where we were. He hit Ray next. Not deep. A pellet or a chip or something like one. It cut his calf just above his boot and he went down with a sound like someone dropped a bag. He clutched at it and then let go, shaking his hand like he'd put it on a stove. The skin around the cut went white, then red. I wrapped it with my shirt without touching the wound with my fingers. He bit his sleeve to keep from crying out. I kept my mouth shut, because if I talked I would have said I was sorry, and sorry meant we were gonna die. We dragged to another fork, took left because the right smelled like that oil again, and hit a low chamber full of steam. A drip of water hit a hot rock somewhere and turned to a cloud that hung in place and moved like a slow animal when our arms went through. The heat was good and awful. It made the silver burn on my arm spike and then soften like it had decided to let me think about something else. The steam took our breath and then gave it back, weird. There were footprints here, old. Some barefoot, some boots. Some looked like animal maybe, but long. I didn't look at them long. The ceiling sweated. The flare spit and hissed loud. I heard the coin clink 3 times, close. He was near enough to toss them past us. "I'm done," I said into the steam. "Come finish it." It sounded brave in my head. It sounded tired out loud. "Nicholas." The radio voice had that dry calm again. "Look up." We both looked. There was a narrow shaft up there, like a chimney. It ran straight. Somewhere high, the moon sat, and its light came down the crack in a thin line you could barely see. The air around it felt colder. My skin pulled toward it. My teeth ached and slid in their beds. My nails hurt. My guts squeezed and relaxed like they weren't mine. I braced against the wall. "Ray!" "Yeah," he said. His breath shivered. "I know." "No, you don't," I said. "Listen." "I'm listening," he said. His eyes shone wet in the flare light. "Whatever I do," I said. I swallowed. The flare hissed and sounded like meat in a pan. "Stay out of my way." He nodded like he was nodding to anything. I pressed my forehead to the rock. It was cool. The radio crackled and the man said, "Time." The pull hit. It wasn't a switch. It came on like a tide that had always been coming. Bones moved. Not loud. Not like breaking. Like grinding. Like they wanted new places and they were tired of asking. I groaned. My hands grabbed the rock and my fingers dug in and found nothing to hold and then found something. Nails made sounds I never heard nails make. My jaw cramped, then opened, then did not want to close. The pain from the silver brightened like a flare in my arm, and then settled into a constant burn that was everywhere the silver had touched, like those spots marked me and owned me. The steam rolled over me and felt cold against the fever under my skin. I heard Ray's breath, and then I could hear his tongue click against his teeth, and then I could hear water hit stone in another room and count the gaps. The gun oil smell came in like a door opening. Under it, I could smell the man. Soap, sweat, a wool coat that had gotten wet and dried too many times. I didn't think those things. I knew them. I turned. My shoulder hit the wall and left a wet mark. My mouth was full of taste. Metal, salt, rock. The flare burned low. A small, angry coal. It touched my skin, and I felt it like an ice cube. Then, like nothing. The pain from silver kept singing. The radio cracked again, and some tiny laugh leaked out. Not his. The static liked jokes. The coin clinked, and I went for it. I did not mean to. My feet moved. My hands moved. I hit a narrow, and my shoulder scraped and I didn't care, and it tore skin and I didn't care. The steam dropped away. I heard boots and saw a flash of glass again, and I closed eyes and the light hit lids and made red. I opened and the man stood there with the pocket net loose in his left hand and a short thing in his right. Not a knife, not a gun. A baton with a band of silver around the end. Dull, not shining, but it gave off that cold like a fridge door open, and my burned skin grabbed for that cold and then ran from it. He looked like any guy at a gas station. Square. Forgettable. Calm. He had a beard that didn't quite know what it was doing. His eyes flicked to Ray and back. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. I went at him because the part of me that thought didn't talk fast enough. He moved like he had done it before. He stayed out of my reach, used the walls, put the baton out when he had to, let me run into it. Each time it touched me, it sent a sting up and down my bones. The skin under it bubbled and hissed. The sound was small and awful. I snapped at his arm and the little hairs on my tongue stood up when I got close, and then the baton bit my jaw and the taste of silver made the inside of my head go white. I backed, stubbed my heel, then went forward because that's what my body wanted. "Nick!" Ray yelled. It sounded like he was far down a pipe. He limped into the edge of it and swung with something. One of the flares. Dead now. Just a stick. It hit the man's shoulder. The man did not even look at him. He flicked the baton out and it caught Ray on the forearm. Light. Not deep. Just enough to make him drop the stick and choke on his own spit. That's when I stopped going for the man and started going for the thing that made the clink. It lay near his belt, a little roll of coins in a cloth. He had been counting them, flicking them. I grabbed at it and my fingers did things that didn't feel like fingers. The roll came free and burst, and round bits hit stone and started rolling. One spun in place and made the sound that had followed us since the mouth of the cave. Clink! 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 It did not stop. The room turned around that sound, He stepped in then, because I was bent and stupid, and put the baton under my ribs and pushed. It slid under skin like he had a map. The burn went bright. I made a sound that had no words. I turned and pushed him into the wall. He hit with a noise and air came out of him. His radio popped and said something I couldn't hear. I put my hand on his arm and felt muscle there like cable, and I squeezed. His face went red. He did not scream. He hissed air between his teeth like a tire. He stabbed at me with something else then. A knife I had not seen, small, with a strip of silver on the spine. It went in my side and I felt it go in. Then I felt the silver part, and that part felt like nothing else. It felt wrong. It made my eyes see spots. I hit him in the head with my forehead. He let go of the knife. I pulled it out, and it took a string of me with it, and the string hit the floor and didn't matter because the pain from the silver drowned it. I shoved him again, and he fell on his back and slid on the wet stone. His head hit a rock with a sound I knew too well. A radio crackle came out and then went quiet. The baton rolled. He grabbed for it. I put my foot down on his wrist and pressed. It made a noise. Bones shifted. He brought his other hand up, and there was the net again, a flash of thin and bright, and he threw it up at my face. It kissed my cheek, just a touch, and the skin there lit up and went wild. I ripped off of it and it tore, and the fine links made a sound like sand when they hit the floor. The coins spun and spun. Steam came in and curled around us. My breath made clouds, and his breath came fast and shallow. Ray made a sound somewhere behind me. I heard his foot slip. I turned my head because his sounds meant more than the man's hand under my foot, and that was the mistake. The man twisted under me, a neat motion, and his hand came up and the baton got free and he put it under my jaw and pushed up. I saw stars I didn't know had names. He tried to roll. I put weight on him and heard something in his shoulder go. He lost the baton. It slid and clanked somewhere out of reach. We were both tired. It happened fast and it took everything. He got a hand on my face and I felt his skin and his beard and his breath, and it felt human and wrong. I took his hand in my mouth and bit, and the taste of him was salt, and the bite tasted like metal anyway because my mouth still held that. He hit me with his other fist and my eye went white and then came back. I heard Ray say my name in a voice that was almost a cry. I tore away and went for the net to put it between me and him, and that was stupid because touching it again meant my fingers lit up and I dropped it and the pain bought him a second and he used it. He got to his knees. He had the small knife back. He looked up at me through sweat and steam and he licked blood off his lip and did not look scared and did not look mad. He looked bored, like a guy in line. "Sorry," he said. It was the only time he said anything that wasn't my name. He came in low. I came in fast. We met wrong. The knife went under my ribs again. My hands found his neck. We went into the wall together like lovers and stayed there a second. I saw Ray over his shoulder. He crouched, arms wrapped around his middle, breathing in little jerks. His eyes were big and bright and wet. His lips moved. A word I couldn't hear. Maybe my name. Maybe please. The coin on the floor kept spinning. It was stupid. It should have stopped. It kept going and the sound went into my teeth. Clink! Clink! I felt it in the knife wound. The steam moved and the coin caught a bit of light and showed me the cold edge of silver in its face just for a blink. My burned skin sang to it. The man's radio muttered something that didn't make sense. The rising pull loosened in me and then grabbed again, like it was tired of waiting too. I pushed. He pushed. The knife went deeper. The baton lay somewhere in the wet, and the net lay like a dead snake. The steam crawled over us all. The coin spun. I let go of his throat and hit his ear hard with the heel of my hand. His head snapped. His mouth opened. He dropped the knife. I took it and half threw it and half dropped it, and it skittered into a crack and was gone. He got his hand under my chin and pushed, and I let him because Ray made a sound like choking, and I turned my head to see if he was breathing. He was. Shallow. Shaking. He reached for me. His hand stopped in the air like there was a line he would not cross. I saw that and felt something like shame and something like hunger and something like going to sleep in the wrong place. I looked back at the man. He looked at me. We were close. I could count the little white bits in his beard. The steam curled. The coin spun, and then it wobbled, and the sound changed, and that was the last clean thing I remember. That wobble. That little shift from pure clink to a sick rattle. I don't know who moved then. I remembered heat, and the smell of gun oil rising like a ghost, and the sting of silver all across my arms like 100 cold needles. I remembered the radio crackle, a laugh that wasn't a laugh. I remembered Ray saying my name once, like he was setting it down. Everything went tight and small and loud. The coin fell, and hit, and rolled, and hit again, and lay there with its little cold face up. The room breathed. I lay on my side after, the steam close, the rock under my cheek rough and wet. My arm burned in a dozen places and none of them mattered. My tongue tasted metal and I hated it and wanted more. I didn't look for the man. I didn't look for the knife. I looked at Ray. He sat against the wall, hands on his belly, breath coming in tremors. He looked at me the way he looked at thunderstorms on the porch when we were kids, like he wanted it to pass. Somewhere near my ear, a coin spun. I didn't see who spun it. It wobbled, hit, clinked once more, and went still. Ray's breath kept shaking. The skin on my arm kept stinging where the silver had kissed it. That's what I heard when the radio went dead. That coin, and his breath, and the burn that didn't stop. I hope you enjoyed that one. Sometimes these stories stay with you longer than you expect. If you'd like to hear more, subscribe for the next night's story. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe watch another before the lights go out. See you in the next one.